Mark Twain said, "The two most important days of your life are the day that you were born and the day that you find out why." German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche was reported in Forbes magazine for saying, "He who has a why can endure anyhow." Knowing your why is an important first step into figuring out how to achieve the goals that excite you into creating a life that is worth living instead of just surviving. July 2000, I was in my naturopathic clinic in Townsville. It was the end of a regular day. I had a very successful business, seeing 40 to 50 patients a week. And I sat there and realized that I was living the same 9 to 5 and die as my patients were. I was absolutely doing what I loved doing, but I had sucked myself into that same routine. And I said, "Jen, what are you doing? What do you really want to do?" My favorite song on the radio at that day was Bon Jovi, "It's My Life." Hit it, guys. It's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live while I'm alive. It's my life. Those words, I just want to live while I'm alive. I would see so many patients in my clinic living in survival mode. And I said, what do I love doing? What is my big dream? And for me, I live to travel. And I have to collect, I will collect a full set of Lonely Planets in my lifetime. Because that will mean that I have been to every country on this planet. And that just lights me up the most. That really does. I live to travel. The thing is, in life, when we're in survival mode, we can't even think straight. And what I've found in things like isogenics is that people have this big word. We hear about the why. You've got to have the why. You've got to know why you want to do this. Who's sitting there at the moment thinking, I don't know why I want to do this? You've had an amazing product experience, and you want to be able to share it, but you just don't get yet. You haven't got this big why thing. Who's in that space? A little bit of overwhelm, confusion. And that's totally cool. That's actually where most people are. What I've found is, we hear about the why, and I talk about the evolution of the why. The reality is, in my speaking career, for the last 15 years, when I decided all I wanted to do was to travel, I brain dumped everything I was doing in clinic into what became a series of 12 books. And I've traveled all over the world. My books have been translated into Chinese and Korean, and I've had a very cool life as a speaker. But it was all about me. I was looking after my needs. But I thought I can help more people in the world if I did my work. Instead of the 9 to 5 sitting 40, 50 patients a week, I could actually do more if I spoke to thousands at a time. So that's why I did that. But I was still just looking after me. But what I've found is there's an evolution that happens. We have to look after ourselves first. And in my speaking for years, I've spoken about and written about in my books the fact that we have to put the oxygen mask on ourselves first. Because if we don't help ourselves first, if we don't look after our health, if we don't look after our finances, we'll stay in survival mode and we just go into overwhelm. Once we do that, then we can go and start looking after others And when it calls you, you will move to that place of contribution. My number one kind of reason or whatever for coming into Isagenix, and I'll share about that in a second, was the fact that I just wanted to be able to still ride my motorbike when I'm 96. And remember that I'm riding my motorbike at 96. That's the biggest thing. I want to be that groovy granny, rocking it out, scaring the hell out of you. Start group. You won't know what to do with a 96-year-old riding a motorbike, I promise. And it will have 2 wheels. None of this trike stuff for me. I will ride a real bike. Maybe not a Triumph, but anyway, that's what I could find. But you know, that's it. I've had such a cool time. And everything, I only joined Isagenix because I wanted the products. I actually found out about Isagenix. I was at one of my, just at a corporate gig. And there was a woman in the audience who showed me the cleanse and the ionics. Where's Heather Rickard? Probably can't find her. But anyway, changed my life for forever. Seriously, thank you so much. Heather showed me the ionics and the cleanse, and it took every part of my being to get off my naturopath ego and to try these products. And the reason was I looked at the ionics and went, far out, this is as cool as what I've been creating in clinic. The problem is, when I did my due diligence, I saw it was a network marketing company. And I had such a chip on my shoulder about that because I was a professional naturopath and network marketing was a job for someone who can't get a job like I had. I'm serious, I was so ignorant, I had no idea. But the reality was I did try the program. And it's just so cool that it's led me to where I am today. But remember, my thing was I wanted to be able to travel the world and to be able to collect my Lonely Planet books. And I've had some incredibly cool, fun times traveling as a speaker and really holidaying around the world for the last full time. I've been focusing on for 15 years now to collect my Lonely Planets. And one of my favorite trips so far was last year. I decided to go and swim with whale sharks. So, you know, you can go and swim with whale sharks off the top of Western Australia. Cool? The thing is, that would not get me another Lonely Planet book. So did I swim there? No, I went to Mexico. I went to a place called the Isla Mujeres, which actually translates to Island of Women. Works for me. I did. Why wouldn't I go to the Island of Women? Anyway, so I went to the Island of Women. And the Isla Mujeres, it's the east coast of Mexico, and kind of you jump on a boat and you zoot out really, really fast on these really fast, cool powerboats out to kind of halfway between Cuba and Mexico. And the guide's giving us this briefing and everything along the day, you know, along the way, and as we're ready, and that, and you put on the wetsuit, and that's good. And then he goes, great, so what's going to happen is you're going to see this big shark coming towards the boat, and you're going to jump in the water right in front of the shark. My brain farted. And maybe another part of my body. Anyway, do you know how strange it is to have someone say, jump in front of the shark? But not just that, then he says, well, what's going to happen is once you come, you know, the shark will turn around and go around you, and that's cool. But what you're going to do then is you're going to follow the shark. And he's going, you're going to, follow the shark, follow the shark, follow the shark. I'm going, hey, sure. So what happened is, we go there, the wetsuits, it's all good. We come into the area, and there is more than 400 whale sharks there that day, they estimated. The water was alive with whale sharks. And remember, my why is just to go swimming, and really I just wanted the book, not to jump in the water. Should have just bought the book. Anyway, so we see this shark coming towards us, and these things are like 7, 8, 9, 10 meters long. So he goes, he's ready, you ready? Yeah, yeah, right, yeah, jump in the water. And I jump in the water, and I can hear, in the distance going, follow the shark, follow the shark, follow the shark. I thought I might show you what it's actually like to see what happens when you jump in the water with a whale shark. Remembering that their mouths are well over a metre wide. That thing could swallow me on the way past and he wouldn't have even noticed he had swallowed me. Can we roll the tape, please, guys? As you can see, I didn't follow the shark. You might have said I went into overwhelm, and I really want to apologise, but we had to beep out a couple of bits. Seriously, I saw that mouth coming towards me, and I froze. I absolutely froze. I couldn't do anything. I went into overwhelm, and it's no different to your why. When people are doing the what's the why and all that kind of stuff, it's like your brain gets all overwhelmed, and you just stand still. I think Michael Klaus says it best when he says, if you don't know what your why is, just do it for the money. I'm actually really serious, because when you do the why, everything else will come. But you just have to start. Another one of my big trips that I wanted to do was to see the Northern Lights. And Mother Nature is beyond cool. I really wanted to see the Northern Lights. And so doing my research, I found that one of the best places to see the Northern Lights is in Canada. So I went to New Year kickoff 4 years ago and thought I'll just do a detour on the way home. It's not far. So called into Canada in January. I don't know how you guys live in Canada. So anyway, I pull up, I'm coming into Calgary Airport, and the plane lands, but it parks out on the tarmac. It doesn't pull up at the terminal thing. And I hear this sound come over the PA system.
You better put on your coats. It's minus 35 outside.
I went, minus 35? I knew minus 35 degrees existed. I didn't know people lived in minus 35. But they do. So that's okay. It's all good. I'm doing good. So, I looked at my Queensland coat. It's not going to quite cut it. So eventually I go into the airport, then I've got to change planes, walk back in the minus 35 and get out there to jump on the plane to go up to Edmonton. I land in Edmonton, and a girlfriend who's one of my Isogenics associates, she lives in a town called Killam, a town of a couple of hundred people, and it's an hour and a half from Edmonton. So by now it's early evening, and it's dark. There's snow and ice everywhere. And it's now minus 55 degrees. I can tell because the little thing on the dash brags about it, minus 55. I'm thinking, you gotta be joking me. Anyway, so then we start driving, and I'm going, no snow chains? She's going, nah, driving this all the time. And I'm an incredibly rose-coloured world, peace, love and brown rice kind of person, but I tell you what, I said everything that night. Protect me, I'm safe, it's all good. Did the lot. So we eventually got out there, that's cool. The next day, we're going to do an opportunity meeting. What happens overnight is that an Arctic blizzard blows in. Seriously, all I wanted to see was the Northern Lights and collect the book. That's all I wanted. So we front up the next day, and this storm is it's stupid. It really is. It's a big storm, and the snow's flying sideways, and it's just, the roads are iced. Everything's just a mess, and I'm going, Holly, we don't have to do this. It's cool. We'll just work out something else. We're not going to do it. And she's going, no, they'll come. I'm going, it's minus 55, the snow's going sideways, and you reckon people are going to come? She said, yeah, they will. And they did. Canadians, I take my hat off to you guys. This is me in minus 55 graded clothing. I have so much respect for you Canadians. I have no idea how you live with that. You are so screwed coming here in our summer. You're going to melt this week. So it's like, what I've found is that life's going to throw things in your way sometimes. It really will just get in your way. But your why is what will keep you moving. It would have been so easy for me to go, really seriously, I don't like the cold. For me to go, minus 55, not doing it. But I made a commitment. And my why to see those northern lights and everything was just so absolute, I had to do it. Make sense? Yeah. But I was still just living in the me. It was me who wanted to see the northern lights. One of my big whys was to also help my mum tick something off her list. My mum has always wanted to see snow. Should have taken her to see the bloody northern lights. She's always wanted to see snow. And so Christmas, she's also wanted to do one of those Christmas markets riverboat cruises. And so I thought, I'll take Mum to do that last year. And I booked it in about 10 months earlier. And you know what? I spared no expense. I flew us business class to Prague, and we booked the best boat, room on the boat and all that kind of stuff. And we were sailing from Prague to Nuremberg and down to Budapest for a couple of weeks. And that was all cool. And seriously, Jim and Kathy, I have to say thank you, because to have the financial freedom to not think twice about spending that amount of money on that kind of trip, to see the smile on my mum's face, was beyond special. My mum got so excited just in the 10 months. Yeah, seriously. Thank you. My mum was so excited getting ready for the cruise. It was like every time she'd ring me up, Jen, what about this? What about this? I'm going, Mum, it's cool. Like, you just plan and do it. It's all great. And then, but what about this? And it was just, she was so excited like a little kid. And it just made me so happy. So happy to see that happen. To have that freedom is awesome. And this is us, when it comes up, at one of the castle things we saw, which was just one of our favourite days. And it was cold. We got cold rain most of the trip, honestly. We didn't get the snow. My mum never got to see snow on that trip. So again, things can, life's going to get in your way sometimes. But the why will keep you moving. So we ended, we flew into Prague and we went to Nuremberg. We did the side trip to Salzburg. We did all the bergs that trip, trying to find this snow. But we couldn't find it, and finally we ended in Budapest, and we've had to fly home via Munich to get home. And we're sitting, in the whole first class thing and just really enjoying the trip. And I noticed that we were flying over the Swiss Alps and over all the German mountains and that. And I said to Mum, snow! There's the snow! And it was like my mum wasn't specific. You got to watch it, guys, because the universe will give you everything you ask for, how you ask for it. So my mum, all she did every day, was say, we're going to see snow, we're going to see snow, we're going to see snow. Yeah, well, we did. It happened to be 40,000 feet from an aeroplane. But she saw her snow. So when you're writing your whys and your goals and everything, please be specific. And write it in every juicy detail. It is so important. My biggest why was to walk the Camino way. And up until last year, I can honestly say that I think I had done most things in my life for me. Who thinks it's selfish to look after yourself? Be real. Who thinks it's selfish to put yourself first? Definitely most women do, because we're raised to think that we have to look after everybody else before we look after ourselves. And as much as I've always been community-minded and been in things, at the same time, it was coming from myself. On my ultimate bucket list was to walk the Camino way. The Camino way, like Sarah said, it's an 810-kilometre if you don't get lost. Lots more if you were me. Walk from, you start in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port in the south of France, and you walk up over the Pyrenees Mountains and 810 k's to the west coast of Spain. And it's an old spiritual pilgrimage. And that walk was very much just for me. And I decided Christmas 2013 that I was going to do that walk. Finally. I'd read about it when I read Shirley MacLaine's book 15 years prior. And so it had always been on my bucket list, but I decided it was time to do it. And so I did. January last year, we went off on the amazing Isoderby Bali trip. Who else came and saw Susan Sly in Bali? How cool was that trip? On that trip, Susan taught us about the 2 whys. She taught about what excites us or moves us the most, but also what moves us now. Absolutely now. And the Camino, it had become that time for me to do it now. So I came home from that trip and I was absolutely training. I decided I was going to do some training. You've got to break boots in and do all that kind of stuff. And I'm out in the bush early one morning, about 5 a.m., because in Queensland it's hot, so I decided I wanted to do it, before the day got away. And it's 30 degrees, like 99% humidity, and I'm hot and I'm sweating and I'm trudging up this hill. And I remember smelling, the smell of the Australian bush early in the morning. And I'm just so present. So present. The night before, I'd been reading a book, doing some research on the Camino, and I was reading about the fact that there's bandits on the way, like bushrangers who do nasty things to pilgrims. And I've got this little bit of, it's not a fear, but it's an awareness in the back of my brain. And I was out training that morning, and I just got overwhelmed with a sense of gratitude for the safety that I felt. The safety I felt knowing that, I could just walk the way and not think twice about it. It was just such a peace about it. And in that moment, something shifted in me that changed my life for forever. In that moment, I thought about a friend called Emma, who I thought would never walk the way because she's deaf and she wouldn't feel safe. She lost her hearing when she was 4 years old to a virus. And she's a gorgeous young woman I met a few years ago when she came to clean my carpets and joined my Isogenics business. And she'd very much been hiding from the world. She had set herself away thinking, I can't live my dreams and things. And over some time, I encouraged her to go and see about getting a cochlear ear implant to see if she could get some hearing. And she did. She went and had all the tests. She went and had the psych and the surgeons and all those things, and they said, yes, we can give you hearing. The problem is, they said, we won't do it. We won't do it in the hospital system. You can do it if you pay for it yourself. You pay the 25 to 30 grand. Yes, our hospital system sucks sometimes. And right then, I had no idea what was going to happen. But that morning when I was training, I found my why for the Camino. That I would dedicate that walk to Emma and to be able to find people who would sponsor me to walk those 800 Ks. And to so many people of you who are in the audience today, thank you. So, walking on the way, I decided I was setting off in June, and I did. And I set off in June, and I had the excitement around the rest of my training until I went, because I now had moved from self to others. My walk was no longer about me. It was about Emma. And I headed off the trip, and I'm all excited, and it's cool, and I'm going to walk, from France all the way across Spain. And about day 3, I went off on track. See, right there at the start, day 3. It's a long way. This is actually a photo of Emma, and she's sitting down over there. Emma lip reads really well. And I just want to say, Emma, my left shoe. Because when you lip read, my left shoe and I love you comes out the same way. I love you. So I had my plan. 810 Ks, I knew I had to fit it in before, I had to get back in time to go to IC Uni Perth, calculate 30 Ks a day. Done. 30 kilometres a day, I can do that easily. Day one, off you go up the Pyrenees Mountains, that's a whole adventure. I worked out if I walked 10 or 12 hours a day, I could do it. So day one's good, day two's good, day three, I went off my plan. I went off my plan because I found someone walking faster than me. And I'm not competitive. But if they can do it in 24 days and I think I'm going to do it in 27, race on. So what happens is I'm about an hour outside Pampeloma. That's the place where they do the running of the bulls. And coming up behind me, I hear this. And I will walk 500 miles and I will walk 500 more just to be the man, woman who walked 1,000 miles and falls down at your door. Da-da-la-da, da-da-la-da, da-da-la-da-la-da-la-da-la-da. No, we're not doing it again, because trust me, I sang that song for 27 days. I only know the chorus. So what distracted me and took me off my path was some of the cutest 20-year-old college students from Oregon that you will ever meet. I don't know why I wanted to follow 3 20-year-old college boys, but I did. I set my plan. My plan was to walk the Camino in 30 days. I compared myself. Here I am, a 53-year-old woman. I knew I was strong and fit enough to be able to walk it. I compared myself to a group of 20-year-old college boys. And I thought, I can go as fast as them. This weekend, you're going to work through your 90-day game plans. Please, when you set your plan, set your plan. Never compare yourself. Because again, what happens when you go off track, most people stop and crash and burn. And it's not cool. So what happened to me was, day 3, I got my first blister. Day 4, I dumped my waterproof Gore-Tex hiking boots because I was told the weather would be 10 degrees and raining. I got 35-degree summer in Spain with roads harder than concrete to walk on for the trip. And I walked the trip in socks and sandals. Who wears socks and sandals? I did. So from day 4, I was wearing socks and sandals. My feet had gotten just so bad. You know, I knew why I was walking the Camino. I set off to walk the Camino because I wanted to see where I would go spiritually and emotionally. I took all of the music off my phone. I took all of the podcasts off my phone. My phone was actually just a phone. Fancy that. And what happened is I really found out why I was walking the Camino on day 13. Day 3, I got my first blister. It used to take me half an hour in the mornings just to prep my feet so I could even walk one step. My feet were getting worse every single day. And I found out why I was walking the Camino on day 13. This is a typical kind of road on the Camino. And day 13, I reached a point that I just could not take another step. My feet had given up on me. My feet were covered in blood blisters. You can't just ring a taxi. You can't just find a bus. There's no one in sight for miles. I had walked nearly 20 Ks that day, and I had about 10 Ks to get to the next town to find civilization to stop. And I will always remember the fact that in that moment when I couldn't take another step, it hurt too much to cry. So I cut my sandals to shreds, and I walked the rest of that 4 hours that day to get to the next town because I couldn't give up. My why was absolute. If I stopped walking, Emma would miss out on her hearing. I had made my why bigger than me. And like that quote I gave at the start, when you really know your why, you will overcome any how. I was not going to let some blisters stop me. Everything is possible with this. I never knew when I started that I would reach that point. And it was only my why that kept me going. Only my why. But you have to look after yourself first. Your why becomes like this. When you've got your why, it's like a team helping you up over that obstacle. Because life will get in the way. That is a reality, guys. And your why is what will keep you moving. That's it. We are all going to have those wall-kicking moments. Guys here in the front row, wall-kicking moments still? Millionaires Platinums? Daily? Yeah. They're in the front row because they didn't give up. We're all going to have those moments. After the Camino, I came home and I absolutely, I found my why. I knew what I was doing, but I found my what excited me most next. And what it was 5 years previous, I had been on a holiday to Thailand. One of my best mates was living over there, and he was living in a little town called Koh Pher, which is about 4 hours drive north of Phuket in Thailand, and it's right near the Burmese border, right in the middle of the jungle. And I'd gone to visit him 5 years before, and when I was there, a couple of days into the trip, I met this gorgeous little kid called Q. And he was 10 years old. He had the body of a 6-year-old from malnutrition. I found out that he was an orphan. His parents had died both died from AIDS. His mum died when he was 2 years old, and his dad had died more recently. He was absolutely illiterate. He'd never passed anything at school. And he literally slept from bed to bed to bed where he could get a space. And he's a 10-year-old kid. And my heart melted when I saw him. And I committed that day to start looking after him. The next trip over there, I thought we want to try and adopt him and give him a future. So we did the trip up to Bangkok, and one of the coolest things is Q had never seen an aeroplane. Can you imagine never seeing an aeroplane? Booked into a hotel. He had never seen or had a bath because they bath in the local river or literally in a great big pot with a bucket of water. Went and found the right government department that we needed to go and see and sat down with the all-learned person and sat down and we did yes, we want to adopt him. And in what was one of my saddest days of my life, in front of Q, they said, you can never adopt him because you're gay. And in that moment, they took all hope away from him. Where Q lives, No one is going to adopt him. There's nothing. And here's this kid living from house to house. And I committed to absolutely look after him for the rest of my life. After the Camino, I moved. On the Camino. I moved from, I can't even say it. I had lived my life prior to the Camino, still living in the ego, still looking after me first. I got on the Camino that my life is nothing about me. The joy that you will feel in your heart when you come from a place of service is nothing big enough to describe how it feels. Nothing. My life has nothing to do with me. And since I handed that over, Preston talks about the boomerang. What's come back to me is beyond my wildest dreams. So this year we set up the Q Foundation. This is my son, Q. Thank you. He's not my legal son, but you know what? In my mind and in his mind, he is my son, and I am his mother. This was his first bed in his life. Can you imagine getting to 13-year-old and never having a bed? It's crazy. In January this year, I went to the town, and the reality is it's dry season in Thailand, and they have so much rain in the wet season, but they have no water in through the dry season, which is now. And I didn't have to think twice. I went and was able to, with the kind help of so many of you people at ICU in Melbourne, some of you guys threw some coins in a bag of money, and Ellen Hilsinger, where you're hiding, you organised that. We gave clean, fresh drinking water to 300 people, that village. Last year, for the first time in Q's life, well, he grew 6 inches. That was exciting. But he also passed 11 out of his 18 subjects at school. We gave him a future. At the time, when we were literally standing there taking those photos, we noticed another little guy, heading off down the road with a 20-litre plastic jerry can under his arm, looking for water. And I questioned and found out what the story was, and he's a little guy, his name's Note, and he has a sister, Nick, and their parents are HIV positive as well. And Q's dad is honestly on the way out. Not Q, sorry, Note's dad is honestly on the way out. There are so many kids in the world. I know we can't help them all, but boy, I'm sure going to help as many as I can. But that's... Now, you don't have to go setting up charities, okay? That's not what this is about. Initially, you will start with your why for you. Get yourself out of survival mode. Get your family financially free. That's what it's about. Because then that gives you the brain space and the capacity to be able to do more, to help serve others, and ultimately to come to that place of contribution that works for you. You don't know the ripples you'll create. The ripples that Jim and Kathy have created around the world we're world changers, guys. Isagenix is the most beautiful world-changing company on the planet. These products rock, but what we give is way more than anything else. And I love it. What I want to do in total silence, and Preston had you practice silence. It was noisy silence. I want to do real silence. Please take out your 90-day game plans. They were on your seats when you arrived this morning. Nice and quiet. You see, the biggest thing that I had to do to really find my why was to get out of my head and to get into my heart. And that's what I want you to do right now. No thinking. Turn to page 6 in your books. No thinking. And just write what's in your heart right now. On page 6, you'll find the space for you to write what excites you, what moves you right now. No thinking. Simply feel. If you want to write something, but then you're questioning it, don't question it. Just write that thing. The thing that comes in first is always the truth. No 10-page essays. You should be able to just write that thing. Thank you. So you can finish that later. And I really encourage you guys, you will fill out your 90-day game plan this weekend. It is your plan, not just to an Isagenix business, it's a plan for your life. And if you really take this seriously, your life will never be the same from today forward. Every dream is possible. But you start with yourself. I only joined Isagenix for the products. I was never, ever going to be the professional network marketer and incredibly proud of it that I am today. Last year I deregistered as a naturopath. I closed that back door because I know I can help more people here than I could ever do in clinic. All I wanted was to collect my set of Lonely Planet books, and I will. I promise with all my heart. In June, I'm going up into the Arctic Circle. June, no snow, June. But I am. I will continue to travel the world and live a life of contribution. I will ride my motorbike when I'm 96 and scare the heck out of you, Start Group. I promise. Like I said, we all start with the self. We move to others. And we move then ultimately to contribution. You all have the power to go anywhere you choose in this lifetime. I would never, I can't say never, but I don't know what I would have gotten out of the Camino if I hadn't had that moment, if that door hadn't opened and Emma hadn't come into my life. I've raised half of that, the money that I need to help her get a hearing, and I'm absolutely committed, and I know that we will get her cochlear ear implant. That's a done deal. I never dreamt that I would be able to that I would set up my own charity. That wasn't on my list. But how can I deny kids like my son Q and On and Poi, these little girls who are already with it? You know, we've sponsored 6 kids so far. And thank you. At the end of IC Uni Adelaide, the gorgeous Heidi Ogermeyer, where are you, Heidi? Heidi, thank you. She organised a cruise for some of the speakers and that at the end of it to go out and do the sunset dolphin thing and all that kind of cute stuff. I met the biggest wall-kicking moment of my life on that boat. Thank you, Heidi. When Alan Hilsinger, where are you, man? Anyway, Alan, I told him something that he wasn't supposed to share. And he shared it with a couple of friends who I adore, the beautiful Jen Patch and you guys are scary, and Carmen Rumsey. And then Melinda pulled in on it. And what happened was, my wall-kicking moment is so big, it's like Superman meeting his kryptonite. And for me, it's wearing a dress. So they put out the challenge on that boat that afternoon that if we could sponsor 50 children in 3 weeks, that I would wear a dress. Really quickly stand, whoever has, the people who have helped us, we have sponsored 50 children in 3 weeks. Thank you. I know so many of you have. I don't have thanks big enough, but you guys you have given life to 50 more kids. And that's worth me getting off my own shit and wearing a dress tonight. But I have to tell you, I am terrified. I will wear a dress to the gala. I could not wear that dress tonight without my why. The only reason I'm wearing that dress tonight is the fact that my dearest friends tapped into my why, which is to help these children. But that's what you do. That's what you do. When you know your why is absolute, you will overcome anyhow. I encourage you more than anything this weekend, really take in what Isagenix has and open your hearts. Like Preston said, hug people like they're your best friend you haven't seen for 10 years. When you open your heart to what Isagenix is, we're not a product company. We're not, the compensation plan rocks. The heart that this company is, there is nothing like this out there in the world. And we will create a ripple through all of you finding your whys. And remember, if at the start it is just for you to go for the money and free your family, bring your partners home from work, pay the mortgage this month, pay the car payment this month, just start. Your 90-day game plan is the plan for you to follow so that you don't go into overwhelm. Use it. It is a mind-blowing tool. And remember that life will get in the way, and your why will keep you on track. Thank you.